Check. Yep, make sure you blast it out. Hey, if you're watching us, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you're hitting the likes and the subscribes, and I don't know, what do we do these? We smash it, we punch it, all those other buttons you got to hit.
I got no idea.
Yeah, just, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Seriously, help us out. This is going to be a good show. We're talking mortgage rates and Dolly Parton.
Oh, something going on with Dolly?
I just had her stuck in my head. I go on a little Dolly Parton binge.
Oh.
I was a long drive back from Corpus, and I was just trying to stay awake.
And you were listening to Dolly Parton?
I was. Somehow I got there. I started with Johnny Cash, and I somehow got to Dolly Parton.
Oh, they're
That's
the same
not a hard
era.
bridge.
Yeah, that's not.
Yep.
Yeah, same kind of era. Two legends in the same.
Of course.
5 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Robert with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. And this is the Texas Real Estate Mastermind Hour. Hey, I'm with Jason, my partner. How you doing, Jason?
Great. Still have a cold, taking naps in the office.
Get the little kennel cough going?
It's the cough is better. It's just
I got a dry cough, and I'm blaming you.
I'm low energy Jeb.
Hey, that's okay.
Low energy. Now, it didn't help. I stayed up a little late last night watching the whole Bernie Madoff deal on Netflix.
Nice.
It is spectacular.
Nice. We'll get to that.
You know what my favorite part of that show was? So there's a competing fund, and
Another Ponzi scheme?
no, it wasn't a Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
And the head sales guy is trying to open up their fund to Europe, and he meets with this French oligarch. It's probably the best way to describe who he is. Has about $350 million of his money, family money, that sort of thing. And this guy says, look, I got this fund manager that's just crushing it. And you know what crushing it is? 15% returns.
Yeah, right? Yes.
Which is unheard of, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He said 15% returns. They're super smooth. So this guy gets up to go to the bathroom or something. So he grabs the sheets, the returns, the portfolio from across the table, opens it up, finds out it's Bernie Madoff. What I didn't realize from the Bernie Madoff thing is he ran his legitimate business, which was his trading company. And then he had an unregistered fund. So this should sound very familiar to you real estate people because I'll bet you all do this. So in any case, he's like, Madoff has a fund. The guy starts freaking out.
Right.
Flies back to the United States. Their company's out of Boston. So he flies back to Boston and goes up to his boss, owns this fund, and says, hey, man, this is Madoff. He's got his own fund. There's like, no way. He goes, wait, here it is. Mm-hmm. And he goes, shoot, we'll take this down to, I can't remember the guy's name, Bob or something, who's the portfolio manager, which is a nice way of saying math nerd, and have him back calculate how to build this thing. And he just looks at it and goes, within 2 seconds, looks at it and goes, nah, man, this is BS.
Right.
And they're like, no, it can't be. He goes, look, dude, I do a math for a living. I'm like a rocket scientist. And the guy is interesting because when they interview him, you could just tell he's one of those guys that's on a spectrum.
Sure.
If he
Can't look at the camera, right? He's
he
always
can't. He's always he's kind of weird. So he just looks at it and goes, this is BS. And they go, we don't care. Build us a fund that does this. He said, you guys don't seem to understand. He is right 94.6% of the time and has never had a losing month, which is impossible.
Right.
In fact, he wrote, you can see him do all the calculations, and then he writes the Sharp ratios, 5.45%, and then underneath it he writes BS. It's impossible to be that good.
Yep.
And anyway, I had no idea how many times he got investigated by the SEC. All they had to do was ask, hey, man, just send us the trades that you guys are doing. That's all they had to do. They weren't even making any trades. Yeah. It was so good. And then they interviewed kind of the mom and pop investor. And there was this guy, he put $1 million in.
Yeah.
Was making a solid 15%.
Sure, right, yeah.
And then, of course, it all goes belly up. And he said, look, the SEC gave him their seal of approval. Mm-hmm. He had gone through 1 or 2 SEC investigations. They said he was great. He goes, we actually hired a third-party company that vets funds. And they said, this guy's like sterling silver. This guy's amazing. He said, so it's not like I just put my money in, right?
Right.
was another guy, and they don't kind of talk about it till the very end. He had $30 million that his dad put in, or maybe his grandfather put in. And anyways, the whole thing was just absolutely crazy. But there was a lot of stuff in there that you watch. What's funny is you watch that, and I'm like, oh, I know a real estate guy that does that.
Yeah.
And I know a guy that does that thing too. And I know people invested with this guy. And I'm like, it will all come out. And I felt like that dude in the competing fund. You're pulling your hair out, and you're like, this is nonsense. It makes no
how could I
sense.
possibly get it?
How could
How's
that
that guy
possibly
doing that?
work?
Right. That's
There is-
us. Like how could he do that?
How could that work? And
how
then
could he possibly making that much money?
That's right.
It's Airbnb. It's not, that market doesn't exist.
that doesn't exist.
It's not real.
Jason, you understand? They show the QuickBooks on the YouTubes, and I'm like, yeah, because they can't fake
I
that.
saw it on Instagram. The guy's making, $700,000 a year. I'm like, not possible.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
I own one 3 doors down from him.
Yeah, not possible.
And it ain't the paint colors and the furniture. I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh god.
So it was so good. You just sit there and watch it, and you're like, "What? Holy cow!" And no one just asked a couple of questions. It was really, really good. But there's some things that he does that we do that I like, and I'll tell you one of them. We want to answer just about every question, but we're not answering the same question 900 times month after month. So he gets to the point where he's like, "I don't want your money." And it was funny because we're watching. I was like, "Oh, we totally do that." And Christina and I were watching. She's like, "Really?" I was like, "Look, it gets to a point where some people are just so difficult to work with.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not for you."
Right.
And with Bernie, and kind of like what happens with us, people go, "Whoa, no, I'm not. I understand you want to get your questions asked." We answered that question 5 different ways.
Right.
Last week. We don't have time to do this again. So anyway, it's really good. It's excellent. So I highly recommend, and it's a lot of just interviews. A lot of it is the deposition that he did for his, I guess you'd call it, plea bargain.
Yeah.
All he was really trying to do is send less of his employees to jail. That's what you kind of find out by the
They're
end
all
of it.
family too, right?
A lot of them are family. Yeah. But it was amazing. I mean, everybody in that show said the sons had no idea. And I believe that. He compartmentalized it. Everyone
They
said
did, yeah.
He said they
I think
really
I
had
saw
no
the show.
idea.
Was it Richard Dreyfuss played him?
No, I don't know.
I think it was Dreyfuss played him. Yeah.
Okay.
I watched that movie. Yeah, it was interesting. It's interesting how they're panicking in their, in their Park Avenue apartment. It's hilarious. Stuff happens, right? So,
But what I thought was so fascinating is 10 to 15% rates of return, and the SEC is like, that doesn't make any sense.
well, I think we got good news coming, right? So, but I think investors and the people that we talk to, they're trying to be smart, and they're asking some questions that obviously, okay, that's a question, but what they're really asking is this, Jason: am I impacted by the economic downturn that's happening right now in the real estate market? And they don't want to ask that question because the answer is
Yes.
yes.
Always.
And yes, you are
Yes,
getting,
and always.
Yes, always. Am I impacted by COVID, people not paying rent?
Yes.
Yes, you are impacted. Yes. But they don't want to ask that question.
Right.
But that's the real thing that they're worried about.
Are our returns going to suffer as interest rates rise and we refinance in that environment? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. But they don't want to ask that question.
Right. And the question is why? Because they really don't want to know.
Right. So they'll ask, is the panel box upgraded? Is this done?
Yeah.
Is that done? Have we figured this out? It's like, ask what you really want to know.
Yeah.
Because I will give you the answer. You just don't want it.
Yeah, you just don't want to hear it. Right.
So it's unfortunate, but 5 years we all make money, right?
Right. Well, so I'll give you
that's the thing, right?
I'll give you the thing I thought was very fascinating. At the end of it, some people commit suicide. They go into all that. It's crazy.
Crap,
It's absolutely crazy. So, and I still can't remember the guy's name, Bob from this competing fund. He basically says, look, I have no problem with someone being better than me, but I can't play a fair game with somebody who's a fraud.
Right.
And I will tell you that is sometimes how I feel when I look out on the real estate landscape, and I'm like, no, dude, what's your this doesn't even make sense over here. And I have to compete with that guy for investment dollars, right? And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Hey, guys, hang tight. We'll be back. We've got good news coming. We're about to jump in big time. I'll give you a little tease. Interest rates have come down in the last week, so here we go again. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert and Jason with world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Mastermind Hour. So, yeah, there's just nonsense out there, right? But when people get to our 3-day, Jason, or even just last night with the flipping,
Yeah,
they're
how was
like,
that flipping cast? You broke some hearts, didn't you?
I break hearts all night. That's the one I break the hearts. But I'm like, hey, you want to make $100,000 a flip? This is how you do it. Mm-hmm. I know no other way, and I've done hundreds.
Yeah.
Right? Between the both of us, we're moving on to 2,000 doors being done.
2,000.
Right? So I know no other way. Mm-hmm. It's not ground up. It's real estate development, but man, that is out there risk. Like you want to go and be a real estate developer? Do you want to do ground up? That is the riskiest part of our business. There's no one more risky than that, right?
Yeah. When you start with a piece of dirt, that is the risk is, and I don't know the best way to measure risk in real estate from a math standpoint, because that introduces so many time-bounded variables.
That's right.
That you have zero control over.
Yeah, you have no control over what's
The
happening
permit
outside of
office
will
stop. And they're not bad people. Everyone's like, the city and the state and the government's all bad. No, it's not. We have building codes so people don't get killed.
Right.
Like, it's that simple.
Right.
So you've got to play ball with those guys. And when we've worked with them, for the most part, they're fairly reasonable. They can be
one little town near near you live there.
Yeah, one little town's not so great, but for the most part, they're pretty easy to work. Not easy, but they're pretty reasonable to work with.
Reasonable, yes.
But when you start adding architects, engineers, civil engineering, remember you got to get the ground all nice and done. And then you're adding utilities. It's like
now the green code, right? Just kicked in.
and you are adding a whole nother level of complexity on a, quote, real estate investment. And so when I go back to a would-be real estate investor and they say, Jason, should I do this? I immediately go back with, what do you want to do?
Right.
Because that's an entirely different career path. Why don't you just go down the street? Why don't you go next door and just buy that house and turn it into a rental?
Right.
Because this looks like a lot of work.
My answer is I've never met a real estate developer who hasn't gone bankrupt.
That's right.
I've never met one.
Every time I see you networking, someone goes, I'm a real estate developer. You laugh and go, how many times you filed for bankruptcy?
Right.
And if they say none, they're either lying or inexperienced, right?
First one, yeah.
Yeah, which is usually lying. So, but we ran into a couple guys in Southern California last time we were there, and you're like, how many times? The guy laughs and goes, 3 times. I was sleeping on my
father-in-law's couch. Yeah, it's like that's the nature of that business.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You make a lot of money, and then you don't.
Sometimes the music stops. There's nowhere to sit, so you just ring the bell and tap out.
Yeah.
Yep. But you don't have to worry about that. The market's actually getting better. Interest rates have come down.
That's right.
In 1 week, they've come down.
Yes. Since November. I want everybody to understand this. Late October, early November, they've dropped 1.5%. 1.5%.
Yeah, from 9 to 7.5.
Yeah. No one's talking about it, which is fine. But, if you're sitting around waiting around like, oh, I'm going to wait till 4%. I'm going to wait till the market
It ain't going to happen, but man, we're at 6 3/4. Game on. Just buy everything, right? Because that's when I came to Houston, that's where I was at.
Yeah, let me look here.
I was at 6 3/4 buying everything in Houston 5 years ago. Why wouldn't I do it now?
Yeah. Let's take a look here. So
the interest rates have come down for the non-QM products, right? If you're going to do a house hack or you're going to put something in your name, if you're going to do a house hack, or you're just going to go ahead and put a real estate investment in your name, go do it right now. Because they're going to be in the low 6s.
Well, 30-year jumbo's 5.7, 15-year fixed is 5.37, FHA's 5.75.
What's the 15-year?
15 years 5.37.
Yeah, so that's what we teach our guys. You got to come to 3-day because we really get into the matrix and how the math all works and how this things. And most people come to real estate with static statistics.
Yeah.
This is what it is, this is how I'm going to make, and it is not. It is absolutely lots and lots of rolling and rolling and rolling. So it's we live in a very, we invest in this world where we're constantly rolling dollars over and over. It's like, how many houses will $100,000 get me? And I'm like, well, it'll probably get you 1 duplex this year. But over the next 5 years, that same $100,000 will probably pick you up anywhere between 6 to 8 doors.
Well, my thought is always, why use your $100,000?
Well, I mean, because they have to get started.
Well, they have to get started, but
They have to get started.
you
We had
do-
lunch with someone who's got $300,000,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, well, we don't. And I'm like, I'm thinking $300,000 is going to buy you $3 million in properties over the next 5 to 6 years,
right. Yeah.
right? Because we're going to roll that money 3 times, and you're going to be able to. That's $900,000, 30%, $2.7 million. You're going to be able to buy $2.7 million in a portfolio. Now, this all sounds a little crazy, and we're moving pretty fast. Come out to the 3-day. MRTXREI. MR is in Mr. TX is in Texas. RE is in real estate. realestateinvesting.com. And we'll show you this math. And it works. And it's what we're doing. And Jason and I, in the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know
Since
how much.
December 1st, we say?
It wasn't even December. It was like middle of December.
Yeah, so the last month?
I just ripped 4 pretty quick.
You got 4, and I picked up 6 more.
I would have bought more, but I'm looking at a really specific area. It's not very big.
Yeah.
So
So am I.
yeah.
And another duplex just came up, and I had her call on it.
Ooh.
I'm like, man, I can get to 9 doors. I'm almost at my number. So
You were just gonna buy 10 down there?
I think 16.
Ah, okay.
16 is my number, 16 or 15. When I get them refied, I'm going to refi them on a 15-year note. And if I got to pay a little extra every month for the carry, I'm okay with that. But I think I can sell 6 of the 16 to pay off 10 free and clear in 5 years.
Oh yeah, easy.
And so I'll be sitting on $3 million in equity in that for just little 9 months of work.
Yeah.
And we're doing a case study around it, and we're filming and all that other stuff. So, but good news, like the market's there. And I can tell you, your peers, the people you think are your competitors, are nowhere around.
Yeah.
Like we have the super investor meeting coming back
We do.
next Wednesday.
I'm wondering how many folks.
I'm not going to be there. You're going to be
Right.
there, but
No, I'm not gonna
Rebecca
be
will
there.
be there, and she'll
Yeah.
count heads, right?
Yeah. It'll start out real big.
I'm hoping it will.
600, 700, 800, 1,000.
That's great.
And then let's see.
But we send our secret weapon there. The girl who has no filter, who's not afraid to. What are you worth? How many of your biggest house?
Yeah.
How much money you got? You're like, she's just hammering. I'm like, hey man, go get the data. Let's find out who's really doing
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
So you'll see Rebecca if you come to the super investor meeting. It's Jet Lending. They're back. Make sure you check it out. It's awesome. And you're going to see Rebecca there, and she is going to ask you all the uncomfortable stuff that you don't want to answer, but she's going to ask you anyway.
And she has no problem
So
asking.
no problem asking. Oh, you're a real estate investor? Well, how much you make? How much you do over here? What are you worth?
Like,
Blah, blah, blah. You're like, well, I'm just starting. I'm just starting. Oh, so you're not an investor?
Oh, but I thought you've been doing this for 5 years. I mean, I've been going to this meeting for 5 years. Like, oh,
I watched her just rip at that table. I'm like, go, girl,
Yeah,
you
get
get
'em.
them. Yep, get them.
let's set the precedent early.
Yeah, we're not messing around here. But it'll be interesting, and I'll just tell you, those people in that room are still not ready to move.
Oh yeah.
And if you come to my 3-day, our 3-day, you're going to be ready to go.
Well, you got a choice to make by the end of it. Are you going to do something or not? 90% of you not going to do anything.
Yeah, about 80% of that room does nothing.
80% are not going to do anything, which is fine.
It's okay.
Then stop wasting your time going to these events.
Yeah, absolutely. Go get more overtime and invest in the stock market.
Right. Yeah. Stop
You
listening
should
to the
invest in
show.
the stock market right now. It's down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's okay.
You should buy Bitcoin right now because it's down. Right.
Right. Buy Tesla. It's
Buy
118.
Down 50-something%. Buy all of it.
Buy it. Yeah. The problem is versus stocks is that there's a good chance that real estate will improve in 5 years. The unknown is still stock, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're we got a email from an investor, a buddy of mine I went to college with, and he said, "Hey, we're looking at a couple things. But he had gotten married, he's having kids, all that stuff, and he said, we're real risk averse." And he said, Treasuries right now paying 5 3/4. And I said, "Yeah."
There you
And I
go.
said, well, do that, and when that runs out, then come back.
Right.
So I'm like, what's the relative rate of return here? So let's say they're paying 6, you're doing 8 to 10% on a note.
What's a 2-year note right now? What's the 2-year T-bill?
Probably in the 3s. Let me look here. Give me 2 seconds.
I mean, you're still losing percent. Hey, we're going to come back and talk about this the rates. This is Robert and Jason, world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. We'll be back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert and Jason with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. Hey, we got a 3-day class coming up here. Friday, January 20th. I believe that is the 20th. The 21st and the 22nd. It's Friday night, Saturday and Sunday. It's a kick-ass event. We're going to go through it. We're going to break it down. We're going to move into real estate and start our investing career as adults. We're not playing on Instagram or any of that nonsense, even though we're on TikTok and Instagram.
Well, we are on TikTok.
Yeah,
Rob is not dancing. I'll tell you
I'm
that.
not dancing. I might do this, but come on out. It's $97. Go to mrtxrei.com, mrtxrei.com, and start learning about real estate from adults.
Adults. There we go.
Yeah.
Is that going to be our motto? From adults, learn real estate from adults.
Yeah.
We don't have a DJ in the back of the room.
Everyone ready? All right, yeah. We're breaking
have-
boards. I said no breaking boards, no snapping the arrow, no walking on fire, right?
No inappropriately dressed speakers.
And the funny thing is, our sales guy's like, man, that breaking that board thing, man, that's really motivating. I'm like, it's for what?
For what? Yeah.
90% of those people aren't going to do anything. What are we motivating them for? To break the board.
You know, when I look at the relative age of the folks in our room, the last thing I want them doing is anything physical. I don't want them missing the board, punching their spouse. Like I just,
Right.
let's just get you in this
Jump
chair.
in the cold tank. Come on, let's do all this stuff.
Yeah,
No. Yeah.
Let's not.
Oh, you were offered to go to a Tony Robbins event, right? Like,
Yeah, I was offered to
I'm
go.
not
I'm
going
like,
there.
and I told this guy, I said, he's a business guy, relatively successful. I said, do you really think Tony Robbins is going to teach you something
What
you
are we
don't know?
talking about? Let's go.
Like, come on, man. I mean, if Sam Zell was
For
putting on
that
a
level
conference,
of what Tony Robbins is charging, you
Yeah.
could pick up an assistant for 6 months for that number.
oh yeah, and she would
Part-time
she or
assistant
she would crush your
and
business.
make 10 times that number.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't. Would you spend a day with Gary Keller for that? I'd do that in a heartbeat. 10 G's to hang out with Gary Keller.
I would pay probably 25 for that.
That would be worth it.
Yeah.
But Tony Robbins. Here's the deal. Here's my thing for
Tony Robbins is great.
He's great.
He's absolutely needed at some point in your career. But when you have a 30,000 square foot building, you have 60 some odd paychecks you write every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Probably not the guy I need anymore, right?
No, and here's the bigger challenge. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what exactly will fix your damn business, and it takes a semester. You need to audit a basic accounting class. Go to your college and university. Could be HCC, U of H, Sam Houston, Texas A&M. I don't
absolutely.
care. Take one semester of basic accounting because I guarantee you've probably
Heck,
forgotten
go back
half
next
of it.
semester and do basic financing. Financing
Yeah.
1, right?
That will supercharge your business.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
guarantee you.
Yes.
Do that instead.
Yeah.
But here's my advice for 23. It's one of my themes. Whoever's giving you advice, look at their life and ask you,
Absolutely.
do you want that?
That's what I want.
Is that what I want? Do I want to
Yeah.
be Tony Robbins on a stage 200 days a year, never home,
Right.
around all these people? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't care how much money the dude makes. I don't want to be a speaker like that. I have no desire. So why am I going to take any advice from Tony Robbins?
Right. I mean, yeah. Well, there's nothing there for me. Like we had a little thing this weekend. I had to adjust my brain. I spent Saturday just adjusting my brain. Mm-hmm. I had to research some things. I had to think about it. I had to think about myself and how I'm making decisions. And I'm like, Monday morning I woke up. I'm like, I'm okay.
Oh, here's my big theme from the Bernie Madoff thing.
Mm-hmm.
It started when he opened his first investment brokerage, which was not registered with the SEC, in like 62.
How is he not registered?
He just didn't register
Just didn't register and just
and was
took people's
pooling money and investing it. Well, he wasn't never investing; he was just stealing it. But
He never invested?
never,
Oh, wow.
no trades, dude, none. Even though he owned a brokerage,
That's great.
like a trading house.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't know his brokerage.
It was him and the guy who were like we're the secret traders and we don't want anyone to know,
Yeah,
right?
no one to know.
Yeah.
It was the amazing thing was his brokerage by the 90s was trading somewhere between 7 and 10% of the volume of the Dow. Like that is incredible when you
huge,
think
yeah.
about it. That's why he was so untouchable. But here was the thing. It's the very first loss he took in 1965. And he lost some money. In fact, I think at that point he was actually trading for clients. He was doing it through the pink sheets, which are like
Oh, yeah.
OTC, kind of almost like penny stocks are today. They don't do them anymore. But anyways,
Pink sheets. That's great.
so he lost $30,000. Mm-hmm. And instead of calling his clients and saying, "You lost money, too bad, so sad,"
he
sucks,"
covered with other people's
he had
money.
he had his father-in-law come in and write the check. And I thought, That's where he screwed up.
Yep.
Because the lesson should be, we're investing, we're adults, sometimes we lose money.
Yeah.
It's a market crash. What do you want me to do?
Right.
Right? It's like, hey, Jason, could we lose all our money in the fund to syndication? Absolutely.
Yes.
You could lose it all tomorrow.
Yes.
Real estate market crashes tomorrow because Putin flies in on a nuclear weapon,
yeah.
destroys half the country.
Yeah.
You're losing.
Sure.
So it's like it was that his ego could not say, and it didn't have anything to do with him.
Yep.
The market crashed.
Sure.
Market crash, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Let's just hold on to this stuff and see what happens.
Right. And that's the good thing about real estate that we're in versus the market. It's time. Like, time heals all real estate wounds.
Yeah,
right?
just sit on it.
In this market.
Yeah.
In this market. Dayton, Ohio,
No.
not so much.
Yeah.
Right? Gary, Indiana, not so much. Have fun
Yeah.
investing in Indiana.
Here is a term you guys are you're going to get to know in 23, and it's called COVID real estate markets. Mm-hmm. These were markets that got insanely hot during COVID because everybody thought they could sit on their butt and work from home. And then these companies started looking around going, nah, you need to get back to the office.
Just about everyone, yeah. Disney
Yeah.
even said 4 out of 5 you're in the office.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Face-to-face collaboration is absolutely needed.
It's required for
Yep.
a lot of these companies. So, I mean, think about it. We can literally do whatever we want. We're here. Like, we could work from home, but we're here, right? So, in any case, those COVID markets are the ones that are dragging down the rest of the national average. That's really what's going on here. So, a lot of people went in and invested in these COVID markets, in Airbnbs, in long-term rentals, in apartments, and all that, and they're getting slaughtered. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, everyone was sitting here going, well, Jason, we're in Gary, Indiana. We bought something for $25,000 a door. I'm like, good luck.
Yeah.
Because
Detroit.
Gary, Indiana does not have the track record of old Houston, Texas does.
That's true, yeah.
So,
listen, we're in a great market. Interest rates are coming down. There's still deals out there. If you're new to this, you better get your butt to our 3-day class. If you're ready to start moving forward and you've got some capital and you've got good credit and you've got a good job, let's go. Mm-hmm. We're not teaching anyone to quit their day job in the first year. Like, you are going to work. Do not quit your day job, right? But after that 3 to 5 years, yeah, man, you'll have income replacement. That's the goal, right?
you're building another career, and it's called real estate investing.
That's correct.
So a lot of people say, oh, it's passive money, it's mailbox money. That's BS. It's a career just like anything else. It's a skill like anything else.
Correct.
And it's pretty rare to do it in a year. You need a couple of years to really get it going.
No one does it here. But once again, we're super happy with the way the market's going. Jason and I just picked up, I don't know, over a dozen properties, and our mastermind has picked up probably 30 to 40 doors in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, if you guys in the mastermind keep on top of your email. In the next 24 hours, we're sending out like 15 doors or something.
Yep.
I'm sending a whole bunch out here in the next 24 hours or so.
And we're happy about this stuff, right? So we're for us 2 weeks into 2023, and we're like, this is looking good.
Yeah.
This is looking real good. We got more crews now than ever. Mm-hmm. Like we got a good team now with our brokerage. We got this stuff is working. It's like, hey man, I'm going to be out of these loans in 6 months.
Yeah, we're doubling down on what has worked in the past.
I'm 90 days into the 3 units I bought.
Yeah.
2 of them are getting rented. One still has a little more work, but I'm like, I'm gonna roll out of this thing in 60 days. I'll be in long-term financing, and hopefully I'll be below 7%. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us. Hang tight. We're going to be back with a short message. Make sure to go to mrtxrei.com. Oh, there's one more? Okay. Yep. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert and Jason with world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Mastermind Hour. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys tuning in at night. Hey, we're going to 8 o'clock at night now.
Yeah, 8 p.m. I posted that on Facebook.
I might actually be able to listen to my own show because I'm not quite in bed yet.
Yeah.
That is going to be amazing.
It will be awesome. It is nice to catch yourself on the radio every now and then. And anyway, so we're moving to an hour early, as I put on Facebook, for you people and the Luby's crowd.
Yeah. Oh.
Those of you who get discounts at Luby's or your AARP card, 8 p.m. from 9 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I've never been to Luby's.
You've never been to Luby's?
I've never been to Cracker Barrel.
What? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
We're going to... You're going to lose your citizenship to this fine state.
Wrong with me?
What is wrong with you? The chicken and
I
dumplings.
may have but I'm all of a sudden now I got the next 6 to 8 weeks of soft food, right?
Oh, which is those two places.
I was like driving in. I'm like, we went to Jason's Deli.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm gonna go to Jason's Deli and make a nice little panini over there. I'm gonna grab that and some salad. And I'm like, oh, there's Luby's, man. I know they're all soft food in there.
Yeah, it
I
is.
might want to go in there and just eat soft food, but I didn't. I went. to Jason's
My
Deli.
favorite thing at Luby's is the square fish. It's a fish, but it comes out in a fried fish in a square,
Nice.
perfect square. This is the Luby's. If you grew up in the South, is after church.
Yeah,
It's
that's
always
just
Sunday
a ton of
after
people.
church,
Yep,
right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then Cracker Barrel. So the only time I eat Cracker Barrel is when I'm driving to Florida. That's or not even to Florida. I guess you can go to the West Coast too, but it's always road trips.
And the biscuits and gravy look great on the billboards.
Dude, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you get the biscuit. They have a platter, if I remember. I'd get biscuits and gravy. Give me 2 eggs, sunny side on top, and then a little side, just a little side of the chicken dumplings. And it's ridiculous. It is enough sodium, to clog a horse. But drink a lot of water. But it's really good.
I bet it is. That's great. So anyway, for those of you that are missing a taste of Texas, get on out here and get your money to work out here. We're super happy what we're looking at. And again, as I was saying in the last few seconds here, Jason and I are doing exactly what we're preaching. Mm-hmm. We did it 3 years ago. We did really well, and now we're saying, hey, let's just go ahead and get 10. For me, I'm getting 16. You're going to get 10, and we're like, okay. In 6 months, we'll show everyone the case study.
Yeah.
This is what we decided to do right around Christmas, and this is what we did, and this is how we raised the money. These are the people we took loans from, and this is how we refied it, and this is our numbers.
Yeah.
This is our cash-on-cash return. This is our percentage. This is our DSCR. Mm-hmm. There you go. Right? So I got to keep probably one more Airbnb. But anyway, we talk about all this stuff and more at our Complete Real Estate Investing Weekend. So go ahead and check out mrtxrei.com, mrtxrei.com. And we should start talking about Airbnb, right? We're going to do a 3-day Airbnb event down in April at the beach. Mm-hmm. And want people to come out. And it's not in a studio. It's not in a classroom. It's not in a hotel room. It's actually in the Airbnbs. And we got the yacht club that we're going to rent out. Mm-hmm. So it'll be fun. But you need to be a good practitioner this year, mm-hmm. right? That pent-up demand to run to Airbnb is all gone, right?
Yeah, I got into a really interesting discussion with some folks online, and I said, look, you got to recognize in 21 alone, the number of Airbnbs in Houston increased by 1/3, from 10,000 to 15,000. I don't know what the 22 numbers are, but if you are not an excellent practitioner, following your pricing every single day, watching occupancy and profit versus pricing, which is gross income. So if you're not really looking at net, because most guys are like, well, I just want 100% occupancy. I'm like, well, what's a turn cost you? What's damage cost? Mm-hmm. So anyway, if you're really not a good practitioner, you're going to get slaughtered in Airbnb. Yeah. And the other thing I said, and you and I have said this for years, if it will not rent as a long-term rental,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Mm-hmm. And so now a lot of guys are looking around going, ooh, that $1 million home, which should rent for $10,000 a month, rents for $7,000, mm-hmm. and my Airbnb numbers aren't working, time to sell. So we're going to see a little bit of kind of craziness at that higher-end marketplace.
So I saw, I think, I hate using numbers I'm not exact on, but I saw that AirDNA had put out a report. Yep. And they said, hey, in 2021, Airbnb hit peak.
Okay.
Peak internationally and domestic side, 60% occupancy, 65% occupancy. Okay. Peak. Entire world. 2021, after COVID breaks out, people are tied up. They can't fly. They don't want to. Boom, they can do Airbnb. Mm-hmm. We dropped to 58%, 56% in 2022. Mm-hmm. That's a big drop.
It's a huge drop.
That is a massive drop. And they're thinking, hey, we best guess for 2023, we're going to be at about 49% occupancy.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's still that's over an 11% drop from previous year, which was over almost a 20% drop from the year before.
So here was the argument, and I literally heard people say, Jason, that's stupid. I said, if your break even cannot be any higher than 50%.
That's right.
50% occupancy is break even.
Yep.
If it meets 50% occupancy at break even and you can rent it long term and make money, or it's neutral, then do the deal. If neither one of those are true, you're going to lose money eventually.
Right.
And I got people arguing with me right now, and I'm like, you're about to learn a great lesson.
Yep.
Because it's the same people I told, don't do this last year and don't do that, and now they're in the middle of all this nonsense. And I'm like, all right, dude, just don't listen to me. That's fine. I mean, how many Airbnbs do you own? 2. How many do we own? A gazillion.
No, too many.
Yeah, too many. And an Airbnb management company. Right. So I'm like, hey, there's a reason we put these rules together in the first place. So, but master of the universe, you're smarter than everybody. But that ego is going to write a check that your butt can't cash, which I'm fine with because it just makes for more entertaining radio. Or maybe I can buy your property 50, 60, 75 grand off, and then I'll go Airbnb.
Yeah, well, there is a way to maximize that stuff, right? So
there is.
There's absolutely a way. We teach that as well. We're going to have a big weekend. We're going to teach all that stuff. Only 20. And then in March we have, so that's in April. In March we have how to raise private money.
That is going to be an
10
awesome
people.
class. That's it, 10 people.
10 people. That's it. 10 people. We're not doing a big
And this
class
is not a $97 class
No,
either.
it's a $3,500 class.
But you raise private money for one deal,
You'll
will
cover it.
triple.
I mean, I don't want to hear it. You know?
You will triple your return in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we have the raising private money. We have Red Talk coming up February 1st. We wait for everyone else does their New Year's, blah, blah, blah. And then we go out there and we talk about goals. And then we wait for everyone to finally get done with all the predictions, and they're already wrong by 60 days in.
You know what's so funny?
And in March, we talk about 2023.
I've always said you cannot do the year-end review and all that stuff in January. So I just got the email from the guys so Altos Research and Housing Wire have merged, which is amazing. They are
interesting.
powerhouses,
Yeah, wow.
right? You know when their annual webinar is? February.
Yeah.
Which is when it should be, because
course,
Logan's not going to have all the data yet, and neither is Mike Sorensen over at Altos.
We had an investor and it said, hey, do you have the 2022 P&L and balance sheets? I'm like, man, we're January 5th, dude.
Yeah, it's not. I don't.
March 15th, we'll report.
He's like, lighten up, man.
I get it. I was like, I understand. It's like, hey, how much do you want to pay for that?
Oh, to have somebody.
I can deliver that. How much are you willing to pay for that?
Considering we had no employees in the office until like the 4th, right? It's like, right, dude. Why?
I don't know. Anyway, come on out so we can start talking realistically about real estate investing, about improving your future, about building your portfolio. And I'll say the line again. Jason and I are investing in real estate because we want triple-digit returns and we don't want to pay federal taxes. So come on out and let us show you, map that whole thing out on our 3-day event, mrtxrei.com. That's MR is in Mr., TX is in Texas, REI is in realestateinvestment.com. It's a 3-day event, and if we're hoping guys are going to join us and follow along and do as well as we have. We wish you guys the best. Hang tight. Got a little event coming, a little announcement coming back, and we'll be done.